Okay, it is Monday. I am here with the lovely, the radiant Alyssa Farah Griffin. Hello.
Good morning. Happy Monday or afternoon as of 1 minute ago.
After Monday, we're into it now.
Yes.
The show just ended. We're up in the studios, and we're going to talk about something that happened to you this weekend that's really, really scary. Let me preface this by saying everything's okay, and that's the good news. But you went something with your son through something with your son last week. Tell us what happened.
Yeah, so I shared with you in advance, but absolutely no one else. My son ended up needing a major operation. I'm actually not going to get into the details only because I will just turn into a puddle talking about it. But he had to get a surgery this weekend, so we spent the weekend in the ICU with him. And usually I would have at least told Sarah too, just to have somebody, like if something was going on in my personal life that was weighing on me, but I felt like incapacitated. Like I last week was going through the motions and just in prayer, knowing that he had this procedure ahead of him. And thank the Lord, it went beyond well. The doctor said he's doing even better than expected, hitting every milestone. He's going to be great. He'll never know in his life, other than that we told him that he had this. There'll never be signs or anything. And it was, it's the hardest thing I've probably ever been through in my life, honestly, if I think about it, because you know this as a father, and I did not know it till becoming a mother. You love them with every fiber of your being. You love them more than you could possibly love yourself. You would give your life for them 1,000 times over. So to watch a baby be helpless, but also have to entrust him into someone else's hands was like, it took every like amount of strength that I have just to get through it. But it was two big lessons. The first is like, thank God for experts, for medical experts, for the doctors that he worked with. I was still a mess, but they gave me the confidence that they could do this and he would be fine. In that moment where you like hand your child over to someone else and realize they're better equipped to take care of him in this moment than I am, like that was hard for me and I had to mentally accept it. But then also that there's this delta between how much I love him and at times I don't have all the answers of how to care for him. And that's where you have to lean on your community and people around you. And I'm in awe of medical professionals. And I mentioned nurses after my birth. I love them even more now. Like just overnight in the ICU, having the most amazing women caring for his every need when, like, to my point, I could feed him his bottle. I could hold him once he was off of some of the monitors, but like I can't deal with the pain he's going through. Like you need real trained experts to help him with that. And then just like who you marry is the most important thing you ever do, because my husband gets me through everything and will get us through this. But he's back. He's better. Literally less than 24 hours, 12 hours after the surgery, he's smiling, he's flirting with nurses, he's totally his father's son. Like, he's just like, huh. And like, I came in at 3 a.m. I'd gotten it from the little cot my husband and I were sleeping on together, go to the bathroom and come back. And he caught my eyes because he was awake and he giggled. And I was like, that's the happiest moment of my life. Like,
Oh
I'm
my
like,
gosh.
he's okay. He recognizes mama. So
And so, he's really just a little baby right now.
he's not even 3 months yet.
Not even 3 months old. So I can't imagine. I know going through this, I heard your pediatrician was actually really instrumental.
Yes, like thank God my pediatrician noticed something small that my instinct was to feel like he's perfect, leave it alone. But thank God she told it immediately, was like, you need to go, gave us a referral to the specialty doctor. And I'm so grateful that these doctors play such a critical role. If not for her flagging this, it could have been a far worse outcome than it was. And just literally, I can't say enough, from the nurses to the pediatrician to the specialty doctors, everyone was so phenomenal in the most loving, skilled hands he could have been in.
And I have to say, doctors, heroes for sure, but I'm in awe of you, Alyssa, because you were here doing your job last week. Nobody who didn't know knew anything was going on. And, you're compartmentalizing and talking about politics and I'm really in awe of you, and the fact that you were able to do that is really something else.
And I kind of told you this, like when I'm going through something like that, I actually feel better just keeping going. Just get back to work, do your job, like focus on something else, or I would have just turned into a puddle because it was out of my control at that point. I just needed to get him through the doctor's appointments, the lead up to the surgery. And then in like, honestly, being at work last week was probably better for me than just, I would find myself at night lying awake more because I didn't have something to keep myself distracted. But like, I'm so happy.
No, I'm
He's
so
the
happy too, and I'm
best
so
little
relieved. And I
boy.
was, praying and waiting with bated breath to hear that everything went okay. And we were in touch this weekend, and I'm so
Yeah.
glad it did.
He's my perfect little boy.
How did Justin do through it all? Big Justin.
Just Big Justin's amazing. I mean, I love them both so much. I could like there's just nothing I wouldn't do for both of them. But he was so much braver, and I've like I like I always thought that I was the tougher of the two. Like in my mind, I'm like I've done things that a lot of women haven't, like flown into war zones, and I'm like can be fearless in certain things. But when it comes to my child, I have a hard time even like keeping my head straight. He had to be the strength. He had to be the one comforting me and just reminding me like, this is what we're doing. We're trusting the doctors. And he was amazing. And now he's home and he's surrounded by his grandma and grandpa. And he's like the happiest.
Surrounded by love,
Yeah.
and he's going to be okay and great.
Yeah. But
That's good.
holy hell, it was a lot.
When my 6-year-old, when Lily was 6 years old, she shattered her elbow on the playground, and it was during COVID, and she had to be put under and have a surgery, and we couldn't go in together. It was one person in the room at a time, and we couldn't be in it was, the waiting is so scary. The idea of them being put under is so scary.
That for me, for some reason, was the scariest part. And they let us go in and like put on the scrubs and kiss his little hand once he fell asleep. But it's that waiting period. I kept thinking of Barbara Bush Sr. When her daughter, who ultimately ended up passing away, but when she was sick, she writes about like her hair turned white. She went through like grief before even losing, and I was like, I feel in this stress and this anxiety over the welfare of my child. Like I felt myself just like you lose all the energy you have. The world stops around you. And you're just, for me, like as a Christian, there's nothing you could turn to other than prayer because there's no sense you can make of it. And you just have to like turn to that. And he's good and wonderful now.
All right. Well, I'm so thankful that everything's okay.
Thank you. Thank you for your support.
No, of course.
It means a lot.
And we'll keep everybody updated. But we're so excited that
and when he's
good.
when he's more healed, I'm going to bring him to the show.
We cannot wait. You almost brought him in last week.
I know.
It's going to happen. All right. Moving on to politics, because that's always fun. Tucker Carlson did an interview with the New York Times saying that he's broken ties with Trump. And the final straw was the war in Iran and his Easter Jesus post. Now, you brought up that it's strange that nothing he did for the past 10 years before this made him break. We remember during the court case that Fox went through, some of those text messages and emails revealed that Tucker had some
hates
issues
Trump.
with Trump.
In his own words, he basically said he despises him.
But publicly
says otherwise.
Yeah. Do you think that Tucker has the power to turn more Trump supporters away from Trump?
So I'm wrestling with how to gauge how much power Tucker has. So keep in mind, when he was at Fox News, for a period of time, he was the most watched man on cable news. He had millions of views. People turned into that program. For a certain fraction of the right, it was appointment viewing. Since he's gone out independent, he touts having millions and millions of listeners and viewers. He was clearly important enough that Trump brought him on the campaign trail. It was an endorsement he sought. He's hosted him at the White House. So I do believe that he's influential. I think he has chosen some very bizarre and fringe battles in recent years that have made him, even on the right in this MAGA era, have made people question him. There was famously this like split with he and Ben Shapiro when Tucker was, in my view, going overtly anti-Semitic. You can criticize the Israeli government. I criticize the Israeli government. That's very different than some of what he decided to do, hosting and interviewing Nick Fuentes, not pushing back on some like deeply, deeply racist tropes. So he's maybe not as influential as he once was, but I would still consider him one of the most influential people on the right. But my issue is this, and I think actually the table said it extremely well. I'm just not buying it. I'm not buying, like, I don't know what the authentic Tucker Carlson is. Is he the sort of libertarian guy that was at the Daily Caller 15 years ago? Is he the guy who opposed Trump but then came around to him? And then now, because of his Christian faith, he opposes him over an Easter post and a war in Iran? Like, he was able to turn a blind eye to a bunch of things before that. That's hard for me to understand. But he did say one thing that was revealing, and I want to read the actual quote because I didn't get to this on air. Because Joy often asks me at the table, like, so why do more Republicans not speak out against him? Why don't they break with him or oppose him when he does X, Y, and Z, indefensible things? And he says, quote, "Did I have reservations about Trump? Of course. To some extent, I rationalized them away or focused on areas where I agreed with him. That's it. That's the whole ball game. So many of these Republican members of Congress, Republican governors, many of whom I still talk to, they absolutely disagree with a huge amount of what he does and says, but they kind of put it out of their mind, kind of compartmentalize and just focus on the narrow areas they agree with him. And I'm like, he kind of gave up the whole ball game with that quote. Will it move the needle? I think it will with some. I think that there's this big part of MAGA that was really with him over. They're not the Bush era. We don't agree with foreign wars.
Right.
We don't want more of this intervention. And I think that's where he's losing people. 62% of Americans, not, across the board, don't support this war.
It's interesting. And then, we've also talked a lot about Joe Rogan, who has just voiced his disagreements and often. And it feels like his base is more movable than other groups,
Agreed.
Other fan bases, I think.
Yeah, because I think Joe Rogan's were sort of I
think there are liberals that listen to Joe Rogan.
They were up for grabs, basically. Yeah, because Joe Rogan was a Bernie supporter before he was a Trump supporter.
Right.
I think that a lot of his listeners are people who aren't necessarily that politically dialed in.
Right.
In ahead of the election are like, well, we got to choose somebody. And they leaned, he, helped put them over the edge for Donald Trump. I think those people are where he loses a lot of voters. And these are people who did not necessarily vote for Trump in 2016. May have voted for Biden in 2020, maybe voted for Trump, but just felt disillusioned and disenfranchised and showed up for him in 2024 on things like he's going to protect free speech. We're going to bring back comedy. You're going to be able to do and say what you want to. This like anti-cancel culture bent. Right. We're not going to get into foreign wars that make a lot of younger people worried that they're going to get drafted or they're going to be paying for wars when they can't afford health care. And he's going to address the cost of living because so many of these people feel like I was promised a different American dream than what I see now. On all of those points, Trump is losing people right now. And a lot of those voters feel completely betrayed. And that's the untold story of right now because Trump didn't win with just the Republican base. He brought in these, whether first-time voters or they don't often vote, but they did voters. That's what put him over the edge. And those people are fleeing from him.
So what's interesting to me is because, you're someone who's been in this conservative system for a long time. There's Fox, which is very much pro-Trump, almost to a fault. I don't know if there's anybody on Fox that is kind of pointing out the flaws in anything that's happening.
Karl Rove occasionally has an interesting take, but and occasionally Brit Hume, but Fox is with Trump.
And then the other part of it is the Megyn Kelly, Tucker, Candace Owens. I mean, a little fringe, but still huge following. Yeah. Is there are these at war with each other? Do you subscribe to both if you're a conservative? Do you watch Fox at night and listen to Megyn Kelly, or is it?
It's a great question. There's definitely overlap, but I see it as a big generational divide. Fox still does okay with the demo or whatever. So there's some young people who are watching Fox, but by and large, younger MAGA voters are with the Tuckers, the Megans, and the Candace Owens. And those are the voters you want because those are the ones who might be with your party for the next 20 years.
Right.
Those are the ones who are breaking with him. It's especially the betrayal on foreign wars. The Fox News audience, it's a lot more of like, no disrespect, but like a boomer audience that I think if you have chosen to view Fox News, it's something you're already voting Republican regardless of who it is. You're not really a movable voter in the same way. This is the big red alarm for Republicans who want to run in 2028 or down the road is this sort of outsized influencer MAGA media ecosystem is turning on Trump. And you're going to have to run either breaking with Trump in 2028 or somehow defend his policies. And I think it's looking a lot harder to defend his legacy as of today. Could change, but like as of today, it's really hard to go back to those people and be like, yeah, that was a really good time. Everyone's doing better than they were before.
All right. So last question, and this may be too in the weeds. I apologize, but I'm fascinated by it. So let's assume that there are these two groups. And the Fox Trump supporting group, you have to imagine the next candidate will probably be J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio.
Yeah.
Who's the other one? Who's the person that would appeal to this other group?
That's a great question. I mean, Tucker has floated his name. I don't think Tucker Carlson will ever be a candidate for president, but I think that there's got to be someone who emerges that's not in this administration.
Right.
So it's somebody who will speak the language of MAGA, who, supported Trump on certain things, but has key areas where he or she broke with him. I don't know who that person is today. I don't think it's Vivek Ramaswamy. I think he's polarizing, although he's taken some interesting positions.
Not DeSantis.
I think DeSantis, I called it here. DeSantis was a political zero. I know him. I've done events. When he was in government, I worked with him. He doesn't have a political cachet or like riz. He doesn't have a riz. That's just simply what it is. There may be someone who emerges. New. I think they could be, and I could see it coming from more the influencer space. Like one of the things that a lot of folks on the right believed was that J.D. Vance would actually run with Charlie Kirk before he was killed. That was like sort of seen as a future ticket. It had the blessing of a lot of big donors. So I could see somebody coming more out of the influencer space.
What about Erica as a VP? Is that something that you think could actually happen?
Erica. I was thinking Eric Trump.
No.
I don't think that she has I think that there's a lot of there's a lot of sympathy for her, but I don't think she's as well known as Charlie was.
All right. Okay. I'm going to change the pop culture.
Which, by the way,
has never stopped anyone before.
Yeah, but also, by the way, as a Republican who's voted 99% for Republicans in my life, none of these are the tickets that I personally am looking for. I would love to see a governor, like someone like a Spencer Cox or somebody who is a common sense, focuses on their state, delivers, has an actual track record of getting things done, be elected. But I just don't think it's the environment right now.
All right, let's change to pop culture.
Yes.
Olivia Wilde was on a red carpet recently and got attacked by people online saying she looked like Gollum from Lord of the Rings. Olivia Wilde is gorgeous, by the way.
Yes.
She laughed off the attacks on an Instagram post saying it was just a bad camera angle and she's not dead. Is laughing the best way to deal with online trolls? I mean, all View hosts get them. How do you deal with them?
It absolutely was a bad camera angle, and I'm very familiar with them. The best way to deal with online trolls is give them no thought whatsoever. Laugh it off if you even let it enter your mind what they're saying. But here, my barometer, and this took me some time to get to, Whoopi was honestly instrumental to me in learning and teaching myself this, is you should care when people you respect criticize you. If Anderson Cooper was criticizing me, if, Jake Tapper was, if, whoever, I would be like, oh, I want to do some introspection and think about what they're saying because I might be doing something wrong and reflect.
People who are relevant to you.
People who are relevant to me and who I respect them. When it is people who are just throwing darts and just looking for something to land and they're just coming after you, it says more about you than them. And honestly, I believe very strongly, don't punch down. Like, you're always going to have haters. Treat people kindly when you're at the top. Treat them kindly when you're at the bottom. It's the best lesson I could impart to anyone. You're not going to see me name calling people. You're not going to ever see me like throwing low jabs at people. It doesn't give me energy. It doesn't put good energy into the world. Like, I believe treat people how you want to be treated.
And most of the time when people do this, they're just trying to get attention or trying to get a response that will give them some of the attention of you.
Correct. And genuinely speaking, it like a lot of times I don't see attacks on me. And then when I eventually do, it's because like, I don't know, someone in my family will flag it and it's sort of like, you just got to brush it off. Shake it off, in the words of Taylor Swift.
Well, as you know, with everything you've been dealing with, like there are much more important things in the world than.
And that's the big thing is like having a child in general has put things into perspective. Like that is my community. That is my focus. That is my whole heart and soul. And it makes some of this outside noise feel like so small. Like I'm glad I don't have time to care about it. Like it's something I'm genuinely grateful for. What matters is like, it's our families, it's our friendships, it's our lives, it's colleagues that you care about and respect. It's people who take shots and like, that's what maybe gives them energy. I just can't relate to that.
Yeah, that's a good thing, I think. All right. So like Olivia, you mentioned you've had a bad photo taken of you. I've never seen one, but how do you deal with those sort of things? Because they do tend to linger.
I've had more bad photos than good photos. I felt so bad for her in this. She's one of the more beautiful actresses out there.
She is.
And I was like, it was literally camera angle and lighting. Like bad lighting can do terrible things to you. You kind of just have to embrace it. I think I'll pull some classics, but like you have to just accept that like, you look better maybe than that. Although it's like, you can't make it go away is the problem.
It can hurt for a while.
It can hurt.
A bad photo can stay with you.
There's definitely one that like I look like a football linebacker. It's something about the way I like, did they have it on the like, what is it? Not the portrait mode, the like,
landscape
panoramic one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was like, you made me several sizes too large, but also just like I have strong features and it can look really angry at the right angle. Like it's not great.
My wife is a very discerning photographer. So she is just brutal to me about I'm squinting, and I know I often am. I can't help it. But just like photos I love, she's like just picking apart. No, don't post that. Don't let people see that. And the family photo process is hours long.
But that's actually kind, because some partners like they'll put a photo up where they look good and you look brutal. Justin generally looks out for me, but if he looks really good, I could look like Quasimodo and he would still post it.
You don't have
and
photo
I'm like,
approval in the marriage?
No, and I've tried to, I've started
Yeah.
to over time, but it's like there are definitely some dark ones on his Instagram for
I
me.
say this is still newlywed time for you guys because I would never post a photo without getting like completely signed off on.
Smart.
Yeah, no, I've learned the hard way for sure. All right, before we go, this Sunday will be your very first Mother's Day.
Oh, yes.
How about that? How are you celebrating?
I have no idea. Ask my husband.
Mm-hmm.
I have a mug that says "Mommy" that a friend sent me, and every time I put my coffee or my tea into it, I honestly tear up, because you know how long of a journey this was for me and how badly I wanted it. And I'm like, I'm a mommy. Like, it's the best title I'll ever have.
Oh, that's really sweet.
Yeah.
My daughter yesterday wanted me to take her to go shopping for Mother's Day. And we showed up 10 minutes after the store closed, and she will never forgive me for it. So someday this week I have to get home at like 4 o'clock to take her shopping.
You better have big plans.
There's a specific store. I do with Mother's Day pretty well.
I bet you do.
I do a good job.
You do gifts well too. So,
Thank you.
yes.
Yeah, I do my best. But it's the girls are very into it now, and they want to go crazy, which is very sweet.
They
but
love their
also,
mama.
They love their mama. They're also not paying for any of it.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
It's easy. Get her a Birkin bag. No.
Right, I know. People like ask me, they're like, because I wanted a boy first, I would have been happy with either. But like, why'd you want a boy? I'm like, because I want him to be obsessed with me.
Yes.
Like, boys are obsessed with their mama.
Yeah, that's true. You can't get away from it.
Exactly.
All right. On that note, thank you for joining me today, Alyssa. Tomorrow I'll be back with Joy. Very exciting. A Webby Award winner, Joy Behar. And we'll see you then.